Oh my goodness, a homegrown Meyer lemon. What's better than homegrown citrus? Probably you can't answer that question because you've never done it before. Well, in case you are interested in growing your own lemon plant, lime plant, kumquat plant, whatever sort of citrus you may be enjoying right now, you can grow it in a container just like this, on your patio, on your balcony, on your porch, on your front steps. You keep it outside in the summertime, and then you bring it inside in the wintertime when the temperatures start to dip below that 50-degree threshold. So in this video, I just wanted to cover basically all of the ins and outs for successfully caring for your citrus plant in a container outside in the summer and indoors in the wintertime. So what I have is one of my favorite citrus, the Meyer lemon. If you've never had a Meyer lemon before, it's kind of like a cross between a lemon and a mandarin orange. So it's a lot sweeter. It's way juicier than typical lemons. It's perfect for, any sort of lemonade or any sort of application where you would normally use a normal lemon. You use a Meyer lemon and it's just like you're going up like 10 notches in that flavor profile. And that's why they call it the chef's choice in terms of citrus. Okay, so when you start with your pot like this is a nice 1-gallon pot, nice good size container. Now, citrus are trees. We know that trees are the longest lived plants in the garden. So give it a container that you want to make sure that you plant it in a container that you really like. Something that you can imagine seeing on your porch and then inside of your home for at least 3, maybe 5 years, because you don't want to be transplanting it so often. You want to let them kind of fill out the containers before you're going to move on to the next transplant situation. But also you need to bear in mind that this is a plant that you need to have outside in the summertime and bring indoors in the wintertime. So you really need to consider the size of your container. Do you have an area inside of your home that can really serve that plant well? The other thing you want to consider is, so I have this nice glazed terracotta pot and it's pretty heavy. I have it already filled with some soil, and so you really got to consider the size of your muscles. Can you physically lift it from your porch to the inside of your home? Do you have someone that can do that for you? If not, consider a smaller container or consider a plastic container. While I do have high preference for the terracotta and the glazed terracotta because they're much prettier, there's some really nice plastic ones out there too. Okay, so now that we have the container situation figured out, let's go to pot it. So I had already plopped this out of the container. Oh, okay, cool. So there's still some soil in here. So you can see it has some nice roots going already. So I'm gonna give this a little tear and then I'm gonna just position it in here nicely. Now what you wanna make sure is that the original line of soil is going to be in line with the new soil line, because you don't want it to be too deep, that's not good. You don't want it to be too high either, that's not good either. You want to really make sure that all of the roots will be generously covered with soil. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Now, once you have it planted in there, you really need to make sure you give it a nice drink of water. Okay, you can see that some of these roots have gotten exposed. You want to make sure recover them up with the soil, because roots are what allow water to enter into the plant through the roots, and then the water goes up through the stems and into the foliage. So if roots are exposed to the air, that means water is going to be getting released into the air and not serving the plant, and that is not good. That's why you always need to make sure that all of your plants have their roots sufficiently covered. Now, citrus, they are thirsty plants. Right now, I'm in central Indiana. It's in the beginning of June. It's about 85 degrees out here. I'm gonna probably water this plant every single day or every other day for the next couple of months. They love to be watered regularly. You really don't wanna let your citrus dry out for extended period of time. That's not good. As well as you really want to make sure that they're getting ample sunlight. Citrus need to be in that full sun condition. At the very least, half a day of sun, but the more the better. And then you want to make sure to fertilize your citrus, just like all of your other fruits and veggies, like your tomatoes, very regularly. You want your plants to feed you, you gotta feed them first. They are hungry, gluttonous, greedy feeders. So I generally feed my plants about once every 7 to 10 days, all summer long. And then in the winter times, I'll probably cut that into half or so, maybe twice a month. Now, while it's in the summertime, keep it outside, allow it to experience those long days of warmth. And then once the nights start to dip back below that 50-degree threshold in like autumn time, that's your cue to bring it inside the home. Now, when it's inside the home in the winter time, I highly recommend giving it an additional supplementary light, because giving it that additional supplementary light, even if it's just a single 15-watt fluorescent bulb situated about 10 to 12 inches above the plant, it's going to highly benefit from that extra light. You would be amazed at what that single light bulb can do. Now, in terms of citrus, they will typically produce their wonderful fragrant flowers during the summer and the fall months. And then these flowers will actually start to fall off, and it's in the wintertime that they produce their luscious, juicy, plump fruits. If you've ever been to California or Florida in the wintertime, you know that winter is citrus season. So these are actually going to be producing their fruit inside your home in the wintertime. And that's really what makes these plants so special, so wonderful to grow. They're very easy plants to grow. Gardeners have been growing them for centuries. You know, they were first grown in the West back in the 1600s in Italy, when they were first brought over through that Silk Road, and it was the high fashion to grow citrus. And many of us have forgotten that citrus can be grown very successfully in containers. Just simply put them outside in the hot summer weather, allowing them to get that full sun exposure, watering them very regularly, feeding them very regularly. I forgot to mention, my fertilizer that I like to use is a 9-18-9. So fertilizer, that number is NPK. So the first number is 9, that's N, nitrogen. The middle number is the P, which is phosphorus, and the final number is K, which is potassium, which is also 9. And because that middle number is higher, that means that the ratio of that phosphorus is greater, and what that will lead to is better and more flower formation, which then leads to better fruiting, more fruiting as well. If you do those, and as well as you give it some good sunlight, and you always want to give them lots of love, maybe a little hug and kiss every once in a while, citrus will become one of your favorite plants. They're super easy to grow, and because they're trees, they're going to grow for many, many years, giving you their luscious, wonderful, I keep saying luscious, don't I, juicy fruit year after year. There's nothing sweeter than a homegrown citrus, I tell you that. Anyways, I'm Devin Wallin, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope maybe I've piqued your interest into growing some citrus, because they are a delight.